Hi.
Welcome to today's lesson for grade 11 chemistry, and our topic is on preparation of insoluble salts. I am Robert Piri as your teacher. At the end of the lesson, I expect you to know the following as in terms of the objectives of the lesson. The first one, you should be able to define an insoluble salt. 2, I expect you to identify the methods of preparing insoluble salts. The last objective, I expect you to be in a position to prepare an insoluble salt, e.g. barium sulfates. Okay, now under preparation of insoluble salts, we know that there are so many methods of preparing salts. Okay, for example, we have methods that involve preparation of soluble salts. Okay, one example of preparing insoluble salts is what we call as synthesis methods or direct combination, where it involves combining elements directly. Okay, but for insoluble salts, this one it involves what we call as precipitation methods or double decomposition. Okay, so the methods, we call it precipitation or double decomposition. Okay, now what is involved under precipitation? What is involved under precipitation? Anyone with an idea on how we can prepare an insoluble salt by this method? Do you understand what a precipitate is? What is a precipitate? How can we define a precipitate? Because the method itself is coming from the term precipitates. Yes. Agape?
A precipitate is a solid form that is a product of a chemical reaction.
Okay. You said it's a solid form. What kind of a solid form? Is it an insoluble solid?
A solid that forms a product during a chemical reaction.
Okay. That's according to Agape. Anyone with a different answer? A precipitate. What's the simple explanation of a precipitate? Yes?
As an insoluble salt formed after chemical reaction.
Okay. So a precipitate is simply an insoluble substance. Hence, the name of preparing insoluble salts as what? Precipitation. Because the products that you are going to obtain, they are insoluble in nature. Okay? Then apart from that, these same methods, we are also referring to it as double decomposition. Why is this method referred to as double decomposition? So, insoluble salts are prepared by precipitation or double decomposition. What do you mean by double decomposition? Double, you know what double is, right? Okay? To decompose simply to break down. So when you combine the two, what do we form? Yes? We form an insoluble salt. So double decomposition simply means, yes?
The mixing of two salts containing the desired salt.
The mixing of two substances so that you obtain the desired salts. That's why it's called double decomposition. Okay? Yes, Dora.
Because it takes place between two soluble salts.
Okay. So, just like Dorcas mentioned, this method of preparing insoluble salts, we also refer to it as double decomposition because it involves two soluble salts. Okay? For example, you can have a salt which I will call it soluble salt A. Okay? So I'll say soluble salt A. Then we react this soluble salt with another salt which is what? Soluble. Then I'll call that one as soluble salt what? B. Okay? So we have soluble salt B. Now, when we react these two soluble salts, they give us two products. One of the products should be soluble. The other one should be what? Insoluble. Because our focus is on preparing the insoluble what? Salts. So when you mix two soluble salts to get an insoluble salt and a soluble salt, the methods you are decomposing two ions there. So two ions from the two soluble salts, they will exchange the ions and form a new compound which we are interested in. In this case, we are forming what? One, we are forming an insoluble salt. Okay, so we can call this one as insoluble salt C, and the other product will be soluble salt what? D. Okay, so in a nutshell, we are saying that preparation of insoluble salts is carried out by precipitation or double decomposition. Then in case you are asked to say what happens or what is involved under this method of preparation, you say that this one, it involves two salts which are soluble in nature as your reactants. When you react them, they will give you two products again. Of course, all of them don't what? Salts, but one of them is going to be insoluble, the other one what? Salts. Okay, now, in terms of preparation, since our focus is on preparation, we will try to prepare, or you will try to prepare ourselves one salt which is insoluble, and this salt is barium sulfate. Okay, so you are going to react two salts which are soluble in nature, then you are going to produce this salt which we are calling as barium sulfate. Okay, so the procedure is that you have one salt which is soluble, okay, then you mix it with another salt which is also what? Soluble. Then you are going to produce, so you are going to put in one containing vessel where now the insoluble salt is going to be collected at the what? The bottom. So this is where you have your insoluble what? Salt. Then on top, you are going to collect your soluble what? Salt. So that's basically the procedure. But the actual procedure, you will see it in the worksheet which I will give you. So what I want from you now is, since we are looking at preparation of insoluble salts, we will try to prepare one that is barium sulfate. So at each station, there are some chemicals which are prepared, which I expect you to do what? To prepare. So you can help me distribute. Okay? So we try to prepare barium sulfates at least within 5 minutes, since we are just reacting with this thing. Questions that are based on what you are going to do here. In terms of the observation, possibly answer them quickly. Okay? So it's now time for presentations. We'll sample 2 groups so that they share with us their findings on preparation of barium salts by precipitation methods. Okay? So this time we'll start with the group led by Zeripa. Then the other group to present, a group led by Eliza. Okay, so we'll have those 2 groups. So Zeripa and your friends, you can come forward, you share with us, then we'll consolidate afterwards.
My name is Zelipa Zulu, and this is Dorothy Mbewe. We have an experiment in chemistry, and our aim is to prepare barium sulfate salts by precipitation method. Requirements: we have 1 molar of barium chloride solution, 1 molar of copper 2 sulfate solution, filter funnel, filter paper, test tubes, stirrers, measuring cylinders, and conical flasks. We'll start with the procedure. Number 1 in the procedure, we'll place 5 cubic centimeters of 1 molar of barium chloride solution into a 50 milliliter beaker. Then number 2, we'll measure 5 cubic centimeters of 1 molar of copper 2 sulfate solution and add to the solution in the test tube. Yes. Number 3, we're going to filter off the mixture to separate the soluble and insoluble salts. You can also allow the insoluble salt to settle at the bottom and then decant, because there are 2 methods. This is how the mixture is going to look when you mix barium chloride and copper 2 sulfate. We allowed the mixture to settle, and as I have said, we can use filtration method or we can use decantation method. It depends on what you want, and this is how it's going to look. We can see the blue solution. This is the soluble salt, and the white precipitate that has settled at the bottom is the insoluble salt. So we're going to use filtration method. Yes, and we're going to allow this to filter off. After we use filtration method, we allowed everything to filtrate, and we had a filtrate and the residue on the filter paper. And this is how it turned out after we mixed barium chloride and copper 2 sulfate. After we did the filtration method, we allowed the filtrate to settle, then we had the residue on the filter paper, and this is how it turned out: barium chloride and copper 2 sulfate. In procedure number 4, it says wash the precipitate, that's the solid residue on the filter paper, by pouring on them water while on the filter paper. So we poured water on the filter paper to wash it, and this is how it turned out as pure salt. We allowed it to dry, then it gave us a white substance which is called barium sulfate salt. Hence, as I said in our experiment, our aim was to prepare barium sulfate by precipitation method. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation. Can we get some additions from the other members of the group where you feel maybe they needed to say something which they have missed? All is well?
Yes.
Okay. Then concerns from the rest of the audience. All is well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Maybe just try to answer. I'll ask since the members have not asked you. Okay? So my question to you would be, try to summarize the entire reaction by way of writing a chemical equation to show what you are doing. So here's a piece of chalk.
We can barium chloride plus copper 2 sulfate. That's USO4 to 4 barium sulfate. Sorry. Then aqueous.
Okay? Is the equation correct?
Yes.
It's correct, eh? Yes, because from the equation we can tell that barium chloride is a soluble salt. No wonder the state symbol there is in aqueous. Then we have copper 2 sulfate, the state symbol again is in what? Aqueous. Then what they prepared was barium sulfate, and the state symbol is solid. Then the other soluble salt which was obtained was copper 2 chloride. Okay? We can give them another round of applause. Thank you so much. Let's have the last presentation.
My name is Mbewe Mercy, and I'm coming from Victor. Yeah. We are given a task to prepare barium sulfate using precipitation method, or rather decomposition method. And our requirements are as follows: 1 molar barium chloride solution, 1 molar copper 2 sulfate solution, filter funnel, filter papers, test tubes, stirrers, measuring cylinder, and a conical flask. The procedure is as follows: place 5 cubic centimeter of 1 molar barium chloride solution into a test tube. Secondly, we measure 5 cubic centimeter of 1 molar copper 2 sulfate solution and add it to the solution in the test tube. So this is the mixture that we obtain after mixing barium chloride and copper 2 sulfate. Then the third procedure is filter off the mixture to separate the soluble and insoluble salts. You can also allow the insoluble salt to settle at the bottom and then decant the mixture. As you can see, on the filter funnel, we have a white precipitate which has been formed, and then on the bottom of the beaker, the insoluble salt is dropping, and then this soluble salt is what we call copper 2 chloride, and then the salt which is going to remain on the filter paper, which is insoluble, is what is going to be barium sulfate. Then the fourth procedure, we wash the precipitate, which is the solid residue, and then in this case the residue has remained on the filter paper, as you can see. Then, lastly, allow the precipitate to dry. The white precipitate is barium sulfate in this case. As I said earlier, that on the substance which is going to remain as a residue in this case is barium sulfate, which is insoluble salt, right? Yes. And then this barium sulfate in this case is an insoluble salt and it is white in nature, as you can see on this paper. So, barium sulfate can be prepared by using double decomposition method or precipitation. Yes. That's our conclusion.
Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. You can also give them hands. Ever we have seen, that is how you are supposed to prepare barium sulfate, which is an insoluble salt. So the methods they have demonstrated, or the method of preparation, is what we are calling as the precipitation, because it has given us a product which is insoluble. Okay, now in conclusion, I prepared those follow-up questions. So I'll ask those members from the groups that have not presented to answer those. So I'll ask them, any member can answer. So the first follow-up question was, what observations did you make during the experiment? I know everyone was doing it. Diners?
A white precipitate was formed.
Okay. The second question is, why is this method of preparation called double decomposition? Judith?
Because it involves two soluble salts.
Because it involves two soluble salts. Or you say because it involves two reactants which interchange positive and negative ions, if you are to be specific. Number 3, which is the last one. Name 2 other salts that can be prepared by these methods. Precise.
Silver chloride and lead sulfate.
Okay, so Precise says silver chloride and lead sulfate. Yes, correct. Those are 2 more salts that can be prepared by precipitation or double decomposition methods. Well, it's my hope and trust that you enjoyed today's lesson on preparation of insoluble salts. To be specific, preparation of barium sulfates. From me, Robert Piri, and the entire studio crew is shalom, shalom.